Hi, welcome to another video. In this video, let's talk about how to pick the right assessment books for your child. My name is Darren and I'm the English tutor from EnglishTuition.org. Now the first thing that we need to do is to start by knowing what your child needs. And that is, try to understand his strengths and weaknesses. And once we have that, then we have a very useful compass upon which we can base our decisions. If we do not know the strengths and weaknesses of the child, then it is very difficult to decide on what books to buy. It's kind of like flying blind. We do not have the information that we need to make good decisions about the right type of books to buy. Now the first tip I have is don't go all crazy and buy a mountain of books for your child, okay? Especially if you do not know what the child needs. Ideally, we want to buy a year's worth of books that will last the child for the entire year. Okay, but one key thing to keep in mind is that make sure your child has the time to complete the work. Otherwise, we will end up with a pile of books and they are like partly used or sometimes totally brand new that the child doesn't even have time to go and start working on a particular book, and that would be a complete waste of money. When picking out books, focus on the different components of the syllabus. For example, if you know a child is already weak in sentence synthesis, then we might want to zoom in on that and buy more books on the sentence synthesis that will help the child and encourage the child to learn and master that particular aspect. So we may end up with different assessment books that are targeting different parts of the components. That's easy for me to say because I am a private tutor and I'm already familiar with the syllabus and I can choose the right books for my students. But if you're a parent going out there and you want to try and choose the books based on the components, maybe a suggestion would be to go out there and download the syllabus from the National Exam Board SEAB website. I'll try to leave a link in the video below. Once you're more familiar with the syllabus, then at least you know that these are the components that are important during the exams, and you might want to focus on that. So another thing that you might want to do is to go back and review the papers of your child so that you know, okay, maybe my child is very weak at comprehension at certain type of questions, and I might want to focus on that. So that will help you out. And before you go running to a bookstore, always try to shortlist some good publishers. And this is hard to do if you do not have any experience with buying assessment books because you do not know what's effective and what works for the child. So one suggestion that I have is to go online, okay, and maybe try to join some parenting groups, and that's where you can read some reviews and recommendations by other parents who have children, who have gone through the PSLE or the O-levels, and then they have some experience with buying assessment books that they would like to share. Right. Another thing that you might want to do is to go to the bookstore, and before you make the actual purchase, take the time to go through the books yourself, because the cover may look very nice, okay, but when you flip through the questions, they may or may not be suitable for your child. And a couple of good publishers that I can recommend are the Marshall Cavendish. Any books by them would be good, or the Educational Publishing House. The EPH is a publishing arm by the popular. I'm not endorsed to, by these two companies to promote their stuff. Okay, that's personally what I find to be useful, okay, for my students. I hope that you certainly learn some tips about picking out the right assessment books in this very short video. The end result is that I hope that your child can score better results in his or her exams, and you do not have to spend a ton of money on assessment books. Because what I find amusing is that very often when I work with parents, especially when they're new, they will come to me and say, "Hey, Mr. Chow, we have this whole stack of assessment books that we've already bought for the child. I know you use assessment books, but do look through the stack and see if you find anything useful so that we don't buy duplicate books." And I find it amusing because when I flip through the books, most of the books, they are either incomplete, completely brand new, or they are poorly done. So don't make that mistake, because a lot of these books will actually go to waste. If you can pass them down to another child, so be it, right? That's better, right? But most of the time, these assessment books, will just end up maybe in the rubbish dump or somewhere in the storeroom collecting dust, and that's a complete waste of money. So hopefully you'll find some useful tips in this video below. Let me know what you think about buying assessment books at the local bookstore in the comment section below. And you would like to view videos just like this one, just head on to my YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel, or you can follow me on my Facebook page. The videos are 100% free. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you around. Have a nice day. Bye.